Hello and welcome to Cheating Exposed. Today's story is watching my wife cheat with the family doctor next door. My name is Jack, and I'm a 38-year-old construction manager. My wife Emily and I have been married for 12 years, and we have 2 kids, a 10-year-old daughter named Lily and a 7-year-old son named Ethan. Up until recently, I thought we had a pretty solid marriage. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but nothing out of the ordinary. Also, I thought. The first signs of trouble started about 6 months ago. Emily began spending an unusual amount of time at the doctor's office. Our family doctor, Dr. Robert Collins, was a charming guy in his early 40s. I never thought much of it. I mean, he's been our doctor for years, and Emily always praised him for his professionalism and kindness. But then Emily started lying about minor things. Saying she had an appointment when she didn't, or taking hours for what should have been a quick checkup. I brushed it off at first, thinking maybe she was just stressed out or needed someone to talk to. But as time went on, her behavior became more erratic. She was constantly on her phone, laughing at texts she wouldn't show me. And she started dressing up more than usual, even for mundane errands. I felt a knot in my stomach, but I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. I didn't want to think my wife was capable of cheating on me, especially not with our family doctor. But I couldn't ignore the signs forever. One evening, while Emily was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at the screen and saw a message from Dr. Collins, "Can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Last night was amazing." My heart dropped. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I decided I needed to find out the truth, no matter how much it hurt. After seeing that text, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My mind was racing, and I couldn't think straight. I knew I had to confront Emily, but I needed more proof. I couldn't accuse her without solid evidence, especially not if she could twist it around and make me look paranoid. Over the next few days, I started paying closer attention to Emily's behavior. She was still acting secretive, but now I had a clearer picture of why. One night after I'd fallen asleep, I decided to take a closer look at her phone. I know it sounds invasive, but I needed to know the truth. I waited until she was in a deep sleep and carefully took her phone off the nightstand. I felt a rush of guilt and anxiety as I unlocked it. The first thing I did was go to her messages with Dr. Collins. My heart pounded as I scrolled through their chat history. It was worse than I had imagined. Their messages were filled with flirtatious banter, plans to meet up, and explicit descriptions of what they'd do when they saw each other. The most recent messages were about their last encounter at a motel not far from his office. I took screenshots of everything and emailed them to myself. I felt sick to my stomach, but relieved that I finally had proof. I went through her photos next and found selfies of them together, taken at the motel. Emily looked so happy in those pictures, happier than I'd seen her in a long time. It felt like a knife twisting in my heart. The next morning, I woke up early and printed out the screenshots and photos. I knew I had to confront her, but I needed a plan. I decided to talk to my best friend, Mike. He's been my rock since college, and I knew he'd have my back. When I showed Mike the evidence, he was as shocked and angry as I was. "Jack, this is messed up. You need to confront her. But you've got to stay calm. Don't let her manipulate you," he advised. I nodded, feeling a bit more grounded. "I just can't believe she'd do this. To me, to our family," I said, my voice trembling. Mike gave me a firm pat on the back. "You're stronger than you think, man. You'll get through this." Armed with the evidence and Mike's support, I felt ready. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I couldn't live with the lies anymore. It was time to face the truth and see what the hell she had to say. That evening, I decided it was time. The kids were at my parents' house for a sleepover, so we had the house to ourselves. It was the perfect moment. I'd rehearsed what I wanted to say 1,000 times in my head. But my heart was still pounding. Emily was in the kitchen, making dinner, when I walked in. I took a deep breath and steadied myself. "We need to talk," I said. My voice shook slightly. She looked up, a bit startled. Sure, what's up? She asked, trying to sound casual. I pulled the printed screenshots and photos from my pocket and placed them on the table. What's this, Emily? Her face turned pale as she looked at the papers. She opened her mouth but nothing came out. After a few moments, she finally managed to speak. Jack, it's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. I snapped. You've been sneaking around behind my back with Dr. Collins. Explain these messages. Explain the photos. Explain the motel. She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. It's complicated, she stammered. I didn't mean for it to happen. Complicated? You didn't mean for it to happen? I could feel my anger rising. How long has this been going on, Emily? She took a deep breath, tears starting to well up in her eyes. For about 3 months, she admitted quietly. 3 months. I said, stunned. You've been lying to me for 3 months? What about our kids? What about our family? I know I messed up, Jack. I'm so sorry, she cried. I never wanted to hurt you. Then why did you do it? What's so special about him? I demanded, why him? It's not like that, she said, shaking her head. I just felt, I don't know, lost. Robert was there for me. He listened. He made me feel special. And I didn't. I asked, a lump forming in my throat. We've been married for 12 years, Emily. We have a family. How could you throw it all away for this? She wiped her tears, looking genuinely remorseful. I'm sorry, Jack. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a mistake. Please, let's work through this. We can go to counseling. Fix things. I shook my head, the weight of her betrayal sinking deeper. I don't know if I can trust you again, Emily. You lied to me for months. How do I know you won't do it again? She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Please, Jack, she whispered. I love you. I don't want to lose our family. I looked at her, this woman I once loved, but now she felt like a stranger. I need time to think, I said finally. I can't just sweep this under the rug. She nodded, her eyes filled with desperation. Take all the time you need. I'll do anything to make it right. I left the kitchen, heart heavy. I didn't know what came next, but one thing was clear, our marriage would never be the same. The next few days were rough. My anger never really left. It just simmered quietly beneath the surface. Every time I looked at her, I saw the betrayal. The lies. The nights she said she was working late but was really with him. I couldn't just let that go. Mike's words kept replaying in my mind, don't let her manipulate you. I knew I had to stay calm, stay smart. But part of me wanted her to feel even a fraction of what I was feeling. One night, while Emily was working late, she'd taken an extra shift at the real estate office, probably to give me space. I sat alone at the table, staring at nothing. Then it hit me. I knew it was petty. I knew revenge wouldn't fix anything, but I couldn't help it. She needed to understand the magnitude of what she'd done. I decided to start with someone who deserved the truth, Dr. Collins's wife. I'd met Linda a few times. We weren't close, just polite chats at community events. But she seemed nice. And she didn't deserve to be in the dark about this any more than I did. So I picked up my phone. It was time she knew the truth too. She deserved to know the truth, just like I did. I got Linda's contact through a mutual friend and sent her a message. Hi Linda, this is Jack, Emily's husband. I need to talk to you about something important regarding Robert. It's not an easy conversation, but you deserve to know the truth. Can we meet? She replied within minutes. We agreed to meet the next afternoon at a local coffee shop. I felt a rush of satisfaction. If Emily's choices could break me, then Robert should feel it too. And Linda? She deserved better than to be left in the dark. The next day, I arrived early. Linda walked in looking nervous. I couldn't blame her. I took a breath and handed her the envelope, screenshots, photos, everything. She flipped through them slowly. Her face went pale, tears welled up in her eyes. "I'm so sorry to show you this," I said quietly. "But I thought you should know." She looked up, voice trembling. "I had no idea. I thought we were happy." "I did too," I said, bitterness leaking through. "But they've been lying to both of us." She nodded, wiping her face. "Thank you for telling me. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm glad I know." We talked for a while. Not much else needed to be said, just two people sitting with the same kind of pain. By the time we left, I felt a strange kind of bond with her. We were in the same mess, just from different sides. That evening, I walked into the house like nothing had changed. Emily was still in full damage control mode, making dinner, being extra sweet, pretending we could fix things with counseling and time. But I knew better. I smiled. I listened. I even acted like I was open to trying again. Truth is, I was just waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment to drop everything. To show her what betrayal really feels like. To watch her world fall apart, the way she shattered mine. I knew what I was doing wasn't right, but watching Emily face the fallout gave me a sense of control, something I hadn't felt in weeks. She blew up our family, now she'd feel what it was like to lose everything. I thought I was the one pulling the strings, but karma had its own ideas. Emily had been trying hard to win me back, extra kind. Walking on eggshells, but I wasn't letting her in. I kept my distance, focused on my revenge. Then, about a week after my meeting with Linda, things took a sharp turn. Emily came home from work looking wrecked, eyes red. Shoulders slumped like she hadn't slept in days. I figured it was the weight of everything finally sinking in, the damage she caused, the tension between us. That night, while we were getting ready for bed, she suddenly turned to me. "Jack, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice shaking. "What is it?" I asked, already bracing myself. "It's Robert," she whispered. "His wife found out. She confronted him. He's been fired from his practice. And they're getting divorced." My heart skipped. Linda moved fast. "I see," I said, trying to sound calm. Emily sat on the edge of the bed, face in her hands. "It's all falling apart, Jack," she sobbed. "I never wanted it to go this far. I didn't think it would end like this." I felt a sting of satisfaction, but it faded fast. It wasn't just revenge anymore, this was real people. Real pain. "Actions have consequences, Emily," I said quietly. "You don't get to break something and expect it to just go back to normal." She nodded, tears pouring down her face. "I know," she whispered. "I'm so sorry, Jack. I'll do anything to fix it." The next few days were chaos. Word of the affair spread like wildfire through town. Turns out Linda didn't just confront Robert, she sent the evidence to his practices board. He was fired, his medical license? At-risk legal issues? On the table. Emily didn't walk away untouched either. Rumors hit her workplace. Clients started pulling listings. Her name, once trusted, was now whispered in all the wrong circles. Everything was falling apart. One by one, the dominoes were crashing down, and for the first time, she couldn't hide from the truth. Everything she had worked for was falling apart. The career. The reputation. The life she thought was untouchable. One evening, I sat alone on the porch, watching the sky fade. It had been weeks of chaos, and now there was just quiet. Heavy, bitter quiet. Then my phone buzzed. It was Mike. "Hey man, how are you holding up?" he asked. I let out a breath. "I'm not sure, honestly. Everything's a mess." "Yeah. I heard about Robert. Sounds like karma's giving him a real kick in the teeth." "It's giving all of us a kick," I said, my voice low. "I thought revenge would help. But now? I just feel empty." Mike went quiet for a second. "Revenge is tricky, Jack. Might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't fix anything. Maybe it's time to ask yourself what you really want." His words stuck with me. He was right. I'd been so obsessed with making Emily and Robert suffer, I never stopped to ask what I needed to actually move forward. That night, I walked inside and found Emily sitting quietly in the living room. "We need to talk," I said, keeping my voice steady. She looked up, hopeful but scared. "About what?" she asked softly. "About where we go from here. I can't keep living in limbo. We need to figure out if there's anything worth saving or if we need to move on separately." She nodded, tears already building in her eyes. "I understand, Jack. I just want us to be happy again." "I do too," I said. "But we can't ignore what happened. We need to be honest and face what we've done. Maybe this is karma's way of clearing the slate. Starting over didn't mean getting back together. It meant figuring out who we were now and what came next." We talked for hours. Really talked. There were no screaming matches. No blame. Just pain. Truth. Regret. And maybe, under it all, a flicker of hope. In the days that followed, I was on a roller coaster. Some mornings I'd wake up furious, the betrayal still fresh. Other times, I'd feel hollow, like I was mourning something already gone. Emily was trying hard. She cut Robert out completely. Changed doctors. Started therapy. Took accountability without making excuses. But the damage was still there, deep and raw. Nothing she did could undo it. And I didn't know if anything ever could. I never thought it would go this far. At first, there was a rush of vindication, seeing Emily and Robert face the consequences. But that feeling didn't last. What came next was a deeper sadness. A quiet, heavy kind. The kind that doesn't shout, it just sits with you. "Actions have consequences, Emily," I said one night as she sobbed beside me. "You can't expect everything to go back to normal." "I know," she whispered. "I'm so sorry, Jack. I'll do anything to make this right." The days after that were a blur. Word of Robert's affair spread fast in our small community. Linda didn't hold back, she'd gone to his practices bored with everything. Robert was fired. And now he might face legal trouble for violating professional boundaries. Emily wasn't spared either. At her job, whispers turned into rumors. Clients pulled listings. The career she had built brick by brick, gone, almost overnight. One evening, I sat on the porch, watching the world turn grey. Then my phone rang. Mike. "Hey, man. How are you holding up?" he asked. I hesitated. "Honestly? Everything's just a mess." "I heard about Robert," he said. "Sounds like karma's giving him a real kick in the teeth." "It's giving all of us a kick," I muttered. "I thought revenge would make me feel better. But now I just feel empty." He was quiet. Then said, "That's because revenge doesn't heal anything. It just distracts you from the pain, for a little while." That week, I took a step I should have taken sooner. I booked a therapy session. At the first meeting, I poured it all out, the affair. The confrontation. My plans for revenge. The fallout. All of it. Dr. Martin listened carefully. No judgment. Just calm presence. "Jack," she said gently, "betrayal is one of the hardest things a person can go through. Especially from someone you trusted deeply. But healing starts with you. Not her. You need space to understand your own pain before deciding what to do next." Her words stayed with me. I realized I'd spent all this time focused on Emily, what she did, how she hurt me, what she lost. But I hadn't stopped to look inward. Hadn't faced my own damage. Over the next few weeks, I kept going to therapy. I worked through waves of anger, sadness, confusion. Some sessions felt like a breakthrough. Others just left me exhausted. One night, after an especially rough session, I sat down with Emily. "I've been seeing a therapist," I told her. Her eyes widened. "That's really good, Jack. I think it'll help." "It already is, a little," I said. "I've realized I need to focus on me for now. Before I can even think about us. I need to know if I can live with this, for myself, and for the kids." Emily nodded, tears in her eyes. I understand. And I'll support you. However you need. As the weeks turned into months, things changed, slowly. The sharp pain dulled. Still there, but not overwhelming. Through therapy and reflection, I began to find pieces of myself again, pieces I thought I'd lost in the chaos. Emily was doing her own work, too. She joined a support group for spouses who had betrayed their partners. Kept going to individual therapy. I could see the effort. And I could see the change. But whether we could ever rebuild our marriage, that was still uncertain. During one of our joint therapy sessions, we finally started asking the hard questions. Not about blame. Not about who hurt who more. But about what healing really meant and whether we could find our way back or if we needed to walk separate paths. Dr. Martin looked at me and asked, "Jack, what do you need from Emily to even begin rebuilding trust?" I sat quietly for a moment. Then I said, "I need complete transparency. No more secrets. No more lies. And I need time. Time to process. To heal. And to see if we can actually move forward, together or not." Emily nodded. Her voice didn't shake this time. "I promise, Jack. I'll do whatever it takes to prove myself to you." It was a start. A small one. But at least it was honest. Still, I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. So I focused on the only thing I could control, my own recovery. One day at a time. As the months passed, reality settled in. Emily kept trying, therapy, support groups, complete honesty. And I kept working on myself, too. But something never healed. Every time I looked at her, the betrayal flashed in my mind like a scar I couldn't cover up. No matter how much I wanted to move past it. I couldn't. I had to be honest. With myself. With her. And for the kids. One quiet evening, after the kids had gone to bed, I sat Emily down at the kitchen table. The house was still. But the tension hung heavy in the air. "Emily," I said, my voice steady, "we need to talk." She looked up. Her face held a mix of hope and fear. "What is it, Jack?" I took a breath. "I've been thinking a lot. And I've made a decision." She waited, silent. "I can't do this anymore," I said. "I can't keep pretending. I want a divorce." Her face broke instantly. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Jack, please. We can fix this. I love you. I'll do anything. Just don't give up on us." I shook my head. Not out of anger. But out of tired truth. It's not about love anymore, Emily. It's about trust. And once that's broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. I've tried. I really have. But every day is a reminder. And I can't live like this anymore. Neither of us should. She sobbed, her hands trembling. "But what about the kids? What about our family?" "We'll always be a family," I said softly. "For Lily. For Ethan. We'll co-parent. We'll show up. But we can't keep pretending we're still a couple. It's not healthy for them. Or us." Emily nodded, slowly. Her face was blank with pain. And I sat there, feeling the weight of it all. Not relief. Not victory. Just a quiet, aching sadness. But beneath it, a hint of something else, peace. "I understand," Emily said quietly. "I don't like it, but I understand." The next few days were a blur of tough talks and planning. We sat down with Lily and Ethan and told them simply Mommy and Daddy would live in separate houses, but we both loved them very much. The kids were confused and upset. But we promised we'd always be there for them, no matter what. I contacted a lawyer and started the divorce process. Emily and I agreed to keep things as calm and respectful as possible, for the kids' sake. We divided our assets, set up shared custody, and tried to find a new normal. One afternoon while packing, I found our wedding album. I flipped through it slowly, All those photos, smiles, and promises. It felt like a cruel joke compared to what was real now. But instead of bitterness, I felt something else: closure. That chapter was over. It was time to move on. I moved into a small apartment not far from our old house so I could stay close to the kids. At first, it was strange and lonely. But it was also a relief. No more walking on eggshells. No more pretending everything was okay. I could heal on my own time and in my own way. Emily and I kept attending co-parenting counseling. We wanted to get this right for Lily and Ethan. It wasn't easy, but we stayed determined. One night after dropping the kids at Emily's, I sat alone on my couch, thinking. The pain was still there, but it was softer now. I felt cautious hope for the future. I'd survived the worst. I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Divorce wasn't the ending I dreamed of. But it was necessary, a step toward peace and healing. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could start over. Build a life on my own terms. Months passed. Life found a new rhythm. The kids adjusted to shared custody. Emily and I stayed civil for their sake. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. One evening after dropping Lily and Ethan off, I took a walk. The cool air helped me reflect on the year behind me, from betrayal to divorce, painful but full of growth. I kept seeing Dr. Martin. Through therapy, I learned to process emotions better, to set boundaries, and, most importantly, to forgive. Not just Emily, but myself too. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It meant letting go of anger and resentment that were holding me back. Emily and I talked sometimes about the kids and logistics, but rarely about the past. We'd both moved on in our own ways. She was rebuilding her life and career. I was rediscovering who I was outside our marriage. One weekend, while the kids were with me, we went camping, like old times. We set up the tent, cooked over the campfire, and told stories under the stars. Watching Lily and Ethan sleep, I felt a deep contentment. Despite everything, we were going to be okay. Back home, I started getting involved in things I'd neglected. Reconnected with old friends. Took up new hobbies. Even joined a local hiking group. These helped me rebuild my identity and find new energy for life. One day while hiking, I met Sarah. She was kind, smart, and had a good sense of humor. We clicked right away. Our friendship grew, then something more. I was cautious at first, but Sarah's honesty and understanding helped me open up. Emily and I kept co-parenting strong. The kids were always the priority. We showed up for their school events and activities whenever we could. It wasn't always smooth, but we found a balance that worked. Looking back, I realized I had learned a lot about resilience and self-care. This experience changed me, made me stronger. I discovered I could forgive and grow, even when it felt impossible. If I could give advice to others going through this, it would be: allow yourself to feel and heal. Seek support from friends, family, and professionals. Focus on your well-being. Don't rush the process. Trust takes time, whether with the same person or someone new. As for me, I was finally at peace. Life had thrown me a curveball, but I found my way through it. I came out stronger, more aware. Sarah was a bright spot in my life. And most importantly, I was there for my kids. Showing them it's possible to find happiness and build a good life, even after hardship. That's how I went from a devastated husband to a man ready to embrace the future with hope and quiet optimism. Well, folks, that's all. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment, and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.